really hope the Edmonton Eskimos can turn around and we'll get a playoff game in Edmonton.
No, we will see. We will definitely see. So, you mentioned winning out. They win out if there's one bye week. So this, like you mentioned, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So hopefully they go into BC, win in BC, bye week, and then win in Winnipeg, and then hope. Yeah, I need some help to see if they're actually going to be an Eastern team or stay in the West. Of course, if you're a fan, if you watch the Eskimos, you want to go to a home playoff game. You want that,
100%.
and as a team, you don't want to go on the road as an Eastern team and go into Ottawa and go into Hamilton, place
No.
they have not won yet this year.
No, and that's a disaster waiting to happen. I think Avery, especially the way they've been playing, that defense has been playing. For those of you that just tuned in on YouTube, sorry, we're gonna backstep here. This is the Brad and Avery Hour. I'm Brad Barco alongside Avery Lewis McDougall. We are simulcasting live tonight for the first time ever on YouTube and on Facebook Live. Check us out, Brad Barco, Avery Lewis McDougall on Facebook. Obviously, we will post the YouTube link later for those watching live on Facebook. And for those of you that are just going to miss the live show in total, so we will have that in its entirety when we are gone.
Exactly. Some people online don't have Facebooks. Want to expand our reach.
My uncle, including, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can watch on YouTube now, and of course, usually we have also tune in radio as well too. So there's 3 ways you can tune in and watch the Brian Avery Hour and look at the
SoundCloud as well.
Yep,
4 ways, yeah.
SoundCloud. 4 ways you can watch
4 ways.
the more handsome co-host and myself.
Easy there.
Yeah,
Settle down.
For the Eskimos, you mentioned the defense, Brad. You saw in that game, Eskimos. Trevor Harris was sacked 4 times.
Yeah.
And he's the quarterback who loves to scramble, got a big arm. The fact that Eskimos took away his time to make plays was massive, I felt, in that game.
And it was a big game, Avery, for the defense to step up. The defense hasn't played well in the off season. Really, you can make the argument for, and they really stepped up. They made Trevor Harris, feel uncomfortable. Really, forced the ball into those tight areas, and they came up big and obviously won the game 34-16.
That's true. Because when I was worried though, because he did find early Deontay Spencer. He had a big game himself for Ottawa. Almost 100 yards receiving on 5 receptions.
Yeah.
In the second half, though, they cracked down a lot on that deep ball against Ottawa.
Which is amazing because we've talked about this for weeks now. This is not a second half team, the Eskimos.
Mm-hmm.
They've struggled in the second half all year. The defense has struggled all year. Maybe Mike Riley, and I don't want to, this is not a bad thing by any means, but maybe Mike Riley needs to be sick more often because the Eskimos have seemed to play better. The defense almost seems to back up their quarterback a little bit more, knowing he's under the weather, that, hey, we need to be just that much better for a quarterback and allow Mike Riley to do his job.
It was his flu game, like Michael Jordan's flu game. That was Mike Riley's flu game, like MJ in 97 NBA Finals.
That's right, yeah.
It was incredible stuff to see. And now, like I mentioned, Edmonton, they need some help. But more importantly, even without the help, just win. You win
Just
out,
win.
you're in.
Just win, baby. Just win. I don't remember who said that, but
Al Davis.
Al Davis. Just win, baby. Just win. I want to move over now. Talk another Edmonton team that won finally on Sunday. It's been a long time coming. They had a couple rough games to start, but the Edmonton Oilers are finally in the win column, and they are 1-2, Avery, and it gets even tougher in Winnipeg against a very good Winnipeg Jets team tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
That is true. With the Oilers, they won first of all, against the Rangers in New York.
Yeah.
An afternoon game.
We've talked about this for weeks, again, which they haven't done for a very long time. Afternoon's been their kryptonite, and MSG's been their kryptonite, and they really overcame that. Their penalty kill looked good. They had some bounces go their way finally. You look at the Ryan Nugent-Hopkins goal. Bounces off a defenseman, right to Hopkins. He buries it, ties it up 1-1 after Mika Zibanejad made it 1-0.
Right.
So the Oilers responded well. Connor McDavid doing Connor McDavid things, coming up big, scoring on the power play. This is the power play we expected to be good. Look, it's only 3 games in. I was never hitting the panic button. We are 3 games in. They're 0-2. Yes, was it crappy? Yes. absolutely 100%. But they didn't start 0-8. They didn't start 0-9. They didn't go 0-10. This is a team that, let's face it, Avery, we've talked about this. Again, I'm going to allude to this. We talked this for months over the summer. And the Oilers have one of the toughest opening schedules in the NHL
Yep.
with their travel to Sweden, then back to North America, getting climatized to that. And you're playing the Devils, who are 4-0 right now, playing very good hockey.
Yeah.
You're playing the Boston Bruins, who are very good. And then you run into a very a somewhat, people saying easy game against the Rangers, but we talked about tough afternoon game. MSG hasn't been very good.
No, it
They
hasn't.
got rid of that. They slayed those demons, and now it doesn't get any easier because you're playing a very good Winnipeg Jets team and a team that's poised and that's predicted to go, if not to the West Final, to the Stanley Cup Final this year.
That's true. And you saw, Winnipeg played Carolina last night, and you saw Laurent Brossoit had every game against the Hurricanes, making 42 saves. How fitting would that be if Winnipeg goes out and throws a Laurent Brossoit against his old team?
It seems to be, Avery, I don't know if you remember, we look at Corson back in the day was an Oilers killer. Jason Arnott seemed to be an Oilers killer. All the ex-Oilers, Mike Conley was good when he left Edmonton
Marty
for a brief
Reisner.
time. Marty Reisner was good when he left for a brief time.
Kyle Brodziak also burned them too.
Brodziak, now he's back. The Oilers seem to produce players, almost give up on them too early, and they go and succeed elsewhere. And Laurent Brossoit is getting that shot in Winnipeg. They gave up on Michael Hutchinson to give Brossoit that shot, and he's making the most of it. He's now 1-0. And played a heck of a game against Carolina. Carolina is, again, we talked about this. I talked last week. Carolina, Columbus, 2 sleepers, and Carolina Hurricanes have done a damn good job. And the Edmonton Oilers are going to be in for a tough game tomorrow. And you got to remember, you don't need to just focus on lineman. You don't need to focus just on Mike Sharpley. They got guys like Nick Ehlers who's playing well. Kyle Connor is flying under the radar, playing super well. The defense has sharpened up a bit. And, of course, we just talked about the goaltending. It looks to be Connor Hellbuck tomorrow, one of the best goalies in the NHL right now.
Yeah, no, Winnipeg is definitely a team that, over the past couple of years, we talked to Kevin Shea the day off. He's been a guy from day one who was dedicated to the plan of building this team to becoming a contender. And Winnipeg right now is a team that will scale out people come playoff time in the Western Conference.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. These are games right now the Oilers need to have.
Of course.
If they listen here, they beat Winnipeg. Hypothetically, they beat Winnipeg. They're 2-2.
Yeah,
they're a 500 team. They have all the momentum right now because their home opener is Thursday. They play Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
But again, don't get any easier. Boston, Nashville's 4-1, and they got a tough schedule. It's going to make or break, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow night, the MTS Center, because that building is constantly rocking, and I'm excited. What do you think of, speaking of Winnipeg, what do you think of those third jerseys against Carolina? Those are sharp. I like those. I am a big fan.
It looks like, they told the graphic designer, hey, we need a third jersey. You over there, you have 1 hour. Make me a jersey. Okay, that's what it looks like to me. It looks very like they were rushed.
I like that
much
color.
Time.
I like that color.
That color to me is sharp. I don't know. I think to me, the color's fine. Just the basic jet script, like way too basic. It's too generic.
You can change that, but that color to me is fabulous.
I know. It looks a little like you could find that at HomeSense in the clearance rack for $25 to me.
Very similar to the Oilers third jersey. The new ones, they're not really old. They're bringing it back from 2015.
And it was a great point. Roshinsky made on Twitter. Oh, the vintage Oilers jerseys from only 2 years ago when Pugliarvi was a rookie. Like, come on.
That's exactly.
Who was fooling with that? That's not an old jersey.
Yeah.
I mean, you want it to go really throwback? It's about time. Bring back the Tommy Farlands. Bring back the Tommy Farland jerseys. You want to do that?
Or bring back the 06 Cup Run jerseys.
You could, but I still feel the best copper and blue ones were the ones that only lasted 1 year during in 96, 97. their first year back to playoffs after 5 years out of the playoffs. They played the ones where they played Dallas in '97. You've seen those
Oh
ones.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know what? Some people didn't
Yeah.
like those ones, where it was the copper and the blue shoulder patches, but I like that. I like that though.
I did.
I did
Yes.
like
yeah.
that.
Absolutely. 100%.
And it lasted 1 year. So bring
Bring it
that
back.
back, I think.
Okay, so you want seats? You want people in your seats? Bring those back.
Well, more importantly, well, there's always fans, but more importantly, though, bring back a winning hockey club. First and foremost.
Well, I think you know what I think Oilers fans deserve that. We've talked about this and we talked about it off air. This is year what 3 with Connor?
Year 4 of Connor.
Year 4 with Connor McDavid. They made the playoffs one time.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let that sink in. Hold on, I'm gonna do that again. One time. 4 years, Connor McDavid. There is something wrong. If you can't build a winning team around the best player in the National Hockey League, there is a problem.
There is.
And we've talked about this time and time again. I'm going to keep going back to this. Peter Chiarelli did in Boston. Traded second. Not much of return. Dismantled a team. Don Sweeney was left to pick up the pieces, and they're starting to get back to where they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
The Edmonton Oilers need a new voice. And I'm not talking Todd McLellan. I like McLellan. It's not time for a coach. Look, you've been around. I've been around. We don't need a new coach. The assistants, I'm fine with new assistant coaches. That needed to be done. Great. You know what? Great job, Peter Chiarelli, for getting that done. I'm going to give you that. Excellent job. Manny Viveros, great job. Great track record. He's a winner. 100% welcome to the club. 100. I love that. Glenn Gullikson, hey, to me, that's the next head coach if Todd goes.
Probably.
But hey, and then, of course, Trent Yanni, another guy, track record, great, skills and skills coach. Another voice, Todd McLellan. This is not Todd McLellan's problem. This is a Peter Chiarelli problem. But what scares me, Avery, is if they fire Peter Chiarelli midway through the year, the one guy that's going to come in, and that's even scarier, is a guy with the last name Gretzky. And I'm not talking Wayne, I'm talking Keith. And to me, that scares me, and I shudder to think what this team could be with a Gretzky at the helm. Leave it. If you're gonna if you're gonna fire Chiarelli, fire him at the end of the year. Hey, let me put it to you this way: the Oilers have another crappy year.
Mm-hmm.
First order of business. Peter Chiarelli's gone.
He has to be
done. I would not touch the coaches. I would leave your staff because your staff just came off the big turnover, i.e., this year with Yanni, like we just talked about. Leave it be. Leave it be. Hire a GM. Now, if that GM feels the need for a change, then Todd gets removed. But until a new GM comes in, do not change the coaching staff. I don't believe, maybe you disagree, I don't believe it's a coaching problem. I think it's a GM problem, and the GM constructed the team on the ice to give the pieces to Todd McLellan. Todd McLellan's doing what he's got.
Oh, he is.
And how, I get back to this. You look at Lou Lamoriello. It started with Lou Lamoriello, Brendan Shanahan, now Dubas. They built the team around Matthews. Yeah. Now they bring in John Tavares. Peter Chiarelli, it's not rocket science. You have the best player in the league. Build around it. Ray Shero did it in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin. Stevie Y did it in Tampa with with Steven Stamkos,
Yeah.
right? Why? Dallas has done it. Sagan, Ben, Radulov now has been a great surprise. What's the excuse here? What is happening? Let's give. I'm not gonna sit here bash Leon Draisaitl. I'm not gonna bash that contract. That's not what I do. Is that contract bad? Absolutely. Right now, in the maybe it was great when he signed it. Right now, watching him 3 games in, from what I've seen, I've been away for a week. I haven't watched any hockey in 10 days. But from what I've seen, what I've heard, what I've seen on Twitter, all this other stuff, Leon Draisaitl's been next to invisible.
Yeah, no, he has struggled so far. But he mentioned it is 3 games. Now I do say this though, the second line that has to get going. It's gotta get going.
Yeah.
Second and third lines, and of course Leon have to get going. But to me, looking at this team right now, you hit the nail on the head right there. Like to me, I believe good GMs win games, great GMs win titles, and that's why you see guys like Ken Holland still having a job. That's why you see certain guys around the league with jobs eternally because they deserve that. But to me, Pierre Chiarelli, his time here has just been horrible mismanagement. The man has proven he does not know what he's doing. And I saw, I think it was an article online in which it said that the Oilers are looking for a defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me? Looking for a defenseman. After all these years, you are still lacking on the back end. And this goes beyond Chiarelli. That's embarrassing.
Now, I'll give you this, though. Hold on. Before we go down the road, I'll give you this. For the first time in a very long time, they drafted very, very well this year. They did. I will give them that. Evan Bouchard, nobody expected Bouchard to be there. Nobody.
No.
And they got it. They drafted well. They drafted at positions of need. They drafted with strength. They traded down to get picks. I'll give Chiarelli that. They drafted well. But outside of that, what's he done?
Outside of that, this team is still lacking. Like, again, you mentioned a team like Pittsburgh. And even New Jersey now. Look at Ray Shero doing in New Jersey. Again, he's building a team that can win very soon.
Mm-hmm.
And you're seeing the Pittsburghs, the Tampa Bays, so on and so forth, who are the perennial contenders. And Edmonton, Brandon McDavid, is lacking that power around him. You saw in Toronto, they're not dumping Mitch Marner because they brought in John Tavares.
Willie Nylander either. No.
They're not screaming to get rid of Nazem Kadri.
No.
They find a way to make all these guys work in that lineup. I still feel Taylor Hall should still be in Edmonton. Because you look at a roster of a team with Hall, McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nugent Hopkins, the scary forward group right there.
And you know what? Let's not dwell on this Taylor Hall thing. Yeah, it's over. It's done. It was what it was. I'm more dwelling on the Everett trade. To me, that makes me cringe still. Get Ryan Strome back. I understand why they did the Hall thing. Could he get more? Yes, absolutely, sure. But it's done. It's done. Let's move on. Hall, I think, is in a better place.
Won the MVP.
You're built around you when you play with a guy like Kyle Palmieri and Nico Heischer. I mean, it's it makes your team better. And Kyle Palmieri, speaking of that, is having a hell of a year.
That he is.
Every game he's played, all 4 games, he's had a multi-goal or point game this year. So, good for him, and the Devils look good. But again, at what point, when do you start looking here, Avery? And if you're Connor McDavid, what are you doing now? What as a human being first, and then as a player, you're looking at your future here in Edmonton. Are you excited? Are you excited to be an Edmonton Oiler?
If I'm Connor, I think right now I think I think he likes the challenge. I think he likes the challenge of getting this team back to its old glory. But
is there going to be a point where he gets to Taylor Hall level of frustration and gets run out of town? I'm not saying let's trade Connor McDavid, but what's the window in this 8-year span that because put it this way, if they're shit for 8, and part of my language, if they're crap for 8 years, Connor McDavid will not be here.
Well, no, of course not.
Will not be here.
Absolutely not.
They need, in my mind, correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
In my mind, I believe in the next 8 years they need at least one minimum. But I think no shortage. 2 Stanley Cups in 8 years. And Connor McDavid looks and sees that and says, hey, we won some titles. We've had some crappy years.
Mhm.
We've had some bad luck. But hey, we're on the upswing.
Yeah.
We're going places. But if you got no rings in 8 years and the Leafs have 3, or the Leafs have 2, or even 1, you're looking and saying, wait a minute, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah. No, like
you can pay me $210 million or whatever. Look at David Price, right? You can't win. $210 million. You can pay him whatever, no amount of money, and Connor McDavid will leave this city. And I'm not that. Hey, this is not what I'm saying is trade Connor McDavid. But at what point does Connor get frustrated? At what point does Connor say enough is enough? I need a winning championship. If you're Connor McDavid, Avery, you're the leader of this team.
Mhm.
You are the heart and soul of this team. I am kicking down Peter Chiarelli's door, and I am demanding a winning team and a winning nucleus around me. I don't care what it takes. I don't care who you got to move. Make this team a contender and do it right.
Well, I would say if I'm in Connor's shoes, if it's me in his body, and if this team goes out this year and puts up a 79-point season, they're fifth in the Pacific Division, I go up to Peter Chiarelli this year, end of the year, and say if we are not in the postseason, if we're not a contender next year, trade me.
Wow.
Next year.
You're saying early.
Wow. I'm sorry. Like, even though I know he would never do it, I'm talking about I'm thinking as Avery, as Connor McDavid.
Okay.
Because I'm saying
I don't think that early, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
To me, my thing is, I understand it's frustrating. I understand it's not easy, but you have made so many missteps. You've not given me the best way to succeed.
100%.
And it's your job. You have not put me in a position to win. And even I would even go up to the ownership, Terrell Kate, and say, you're the owner. You
spend some money.
You cannot be satisfied with this right now. I don't understand. It's a business. I understand money is important. But at the end of the day, winning is paramount.
Stop kissing ass and put a goddamn winning team on the ice. Stop buddy with whoever you're buddy with and win a goddamn championship.
And I think eventually, Edmonton, you're going to get to a point like we're in Ottawa, where you're seeing the whole Eugene Melly thing. I think fans are going to say with their pocketbooks, you know what? Enough. I think there will be a time. And people say, oh, Edmonton fans will always go out. No, I think if the McDavid era is wasted, to me personally, I think this is the last chance. This is the last chance for this team. This is the real last chance.
Look, for me, this is not me bashing on the Oilers. Clear. But this is frustration, and I'm asking, at what point does Connor say this is enough? What do we got to do? Look, does it not frustrate you to see Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, Willie Nylander, Morgan Riley, Freddie, all those guys, and all of a sudden they sign John Tavares?
Yeah.
Are you not sitting there as Connor McDavid being like, wait a minute, why can't I play with John Tavares?
Well, I think I think Toronto always had that trump card of it being hometown for him. By see what you mean, though. I think to me it's more frustrating to see.
The last elite talent we've had outside of Connor McDavid. This is our guy. The only opportunity the Oilers have ever had to get elite talent is drafting. They've never been it since 2006, since that Cup run. Chris Pronger, Spacek, all these guys that came to Edmonton willingly. Nobody wants to play here. I'll tell you why. They're not winning.
Sure.
You need. Well, let me tell you, and I guarantee. I know. I have friends around the league, and I'm not. I'm not name dropping. I'm not going to name drop. But I have friends around the league that would die to play with 97. But they're not winning.
Yeah.
If they won, those guys would be banging on the door, take a pay cut to play with 97. We've seen it with Milan Lucci.
We did, yeah. But and I mentioned though, it's only been one playoff year. I look at their seasons right now. This is a team where, to me, it's more frustrating to see Eric Carlson and hear that Edmonton was a non-starter. Imagine that. Best player in the league, and guys say Edmonton? Absolutely not. I don't care if McDavid's on that team. Like that, to me,
Yeah.
if your ownership,
Yeah.
that should be embarrassing.
Yeah.
That even though you have McDavid,
It's been like
players
that for
still saying,
years.
hell no.
It's been like that for
Look
years.
at the season. Like they've 16-17 was their first year of an 80-point season since 08-09.
Yeah.
That to be, they didn't cross the 80-point barrier for 8 years.
And then obviously you'll get 103 points.
And then back to sub 80 points.
Yeah. How do you? I don't understand. How do you go from 103 to 78 the next year?
Like it didn't.
It baffles me. Maybe look, I see the drop off. Maybe 89, maybe 90 points, maybe 95 even. But from 103 to 78 points.
It's a 25-point regression.
My God.
Like that is, and I'm just looking at and there were some years people were talking about 09-10 for Pat Quinn year being the basement. Like, people had made a great point. How in the world did they have a worse year than the 09-10 year, which was 14?
They had back-to-back 62-point seasons.
Like how do you, it doesn't make sense. They got worse in the supposed rebuild.
You know what? And I'm getting sick of the first overall pick. I'm getting sick of picking in the top 10. I want to pick from 29 to 30 or from 25 to 30. I don't want to be talking about Jack Hughes. I don't want to be. I don't. You know what? I don't want to be talking about this top level talent potentially coming to Edmonton. I want elite talent in the league already talking about coming to Edmonton.
Yeah.
You know, Tony, you look, we have the caliber to win. Absolutely. Absolutely, we have the caliber to win. But will they do it? Will it transition?
And it's just, to me, the fact that you've had certain defense, like, I'll never understand giving Chris Russell that long-term deal.
With the no movement.
It baffles me.
With the no movement.
He's not that caliber of defense. If you didn't have the money to type in so many bad, like, people out east have asked me, Avery, how in the world are the Oilers in salary cap hell with this many bad contracts? It does not make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Let's add this up for a minute. Let's pull up the Leafs roster. Contracts, money-wise, whatever. And pull up the Oilers roster. Same salary cap, same whatever. So you have Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, Willie Nylander, John Tavares, Freddie Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
This league has the same amount of money, and yet the Oilers are in cap trouble hell. It blows my freaking mind. So we're gonna pull it up here, guys.
I know, Brad. I know when you were in LA, you got a chance to see how the LA Kings operate. But I've been there. I understand the difficulty of making a trade.
Mm-hmm. I get it. I have, you know what? From that standpoint, I have so much respect for GM. I have so much respect for Peter Chiarelli from that standpoint to make a trade. I'm good friends with Luke Robitaille. I've been there. I've seen it. I've been in the war room with him and Rob Blake when they made a deal when I was there. Dion Phaneuf went to LA while I was in LA. I know the conversations that go on. I've seen it. I know how hard it is. But the LA Kings just didn't say they know for an answer. You go back and you restructure your offer. Yes, it comes back to you look at okay, look at this player's contract. They want to deal up enough for whatever. Well, in order to make that happen, the Kings threw in Marion Gabrick
Right.
to balance out the money and balance out the books. And you look at the years. How many years is Dion Phaneuf actually going to be a elite caliber defenseman? How many years is Marion Gabrick going to be good? Well, that didn't work out for Ottawa. You see that with the injury struggles and whatever.
No, exactly.
So in my mind, LA won that deal. But I understand the difficulty. I get it. And no, the fans don't get it. The fans don't understand it. But at the same time, you still got to try.
And we see we got the lease cap friendly page up here, and you see they have Tavares
So,
making 11 million.
11, 6-2,
Oh, Patrick Marleau. I forgot about Patrick Marleau.
6-2 for Patty Marleau,
Mm-hmm.
4.5 for Nazem Kadri, 2.2 for Hyman, and Matthews is still an entry level deal. He'll probably sign for the neighborhood of 8.5, maybe 9 million, I would assume. What do you think? Does he go higher than that? Do you get McDavid money?
I think 8.5 million. I don't know. I think Austin Matthews is a great player. He is going to be one of the he'll be one of the faces of the game for a very long time. But no guy is near the level of Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid, the rest of the league right now,
So-
the league is here. You can show the camera. He's here. They got your top 20 guys here. And Austin's near. He's near the top of that list. And then you got the Crosby, Ovechkins, and you got Connor a little bit higher.
Yeah. Hey, Tony, you were absolutely right. Drew Doughty is on that team. Anze Kopitar's there, remember. This is a team getting over. I understand that. This is a team that will go through a rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they drafted well enough that they have pieces coming. Gabe Velarde being one of them. They're very high on Gabe Velarde. Jonathan Quick's going to be there for, I still believe, many years. They're going to be okay in goal, and they're going to be okay on the back end as well. But this is a team, Tony, it comes down to drafting and developing. And the Oilers for years didn't draft well, nor did they develop well. All these kids were rushed. Taylor, you mentioned first overall picks. That's a different story. But all these other kids were rushed to the league or rushed to the farm system or ruined, or they didn't get a chance to properly develop. Some of these guys developed for 3-4 years. Gabe Velarde, he's still probably 2-3 years away. And the Kings are okay with that because they have Anze Kopitar, because they have, guys like Drew Doughty and all that stuff. They're okay with developing. The Oilers' way of developing and drafting hasn't been very good. As I mentioned, I don't know, Tony, if you were here in the beginning of the show. The Oilers, for the first time in many years, drafted well this year. They drafted very well. Nobody expected Evan Bouchard to be there at 10. Their second-round pick, nobody expected to be there as well. Remind me who was Ryan McLeod.
Ryan McLeod.
Sorry, Ryan McLeod, second-round pick. He's going to be great. Their goaltending, they drafted well. So now it's time to properly develop these guys. Let these guys groom and sit. Properly grooming a defenseman takes anywhere from 2 to 5 years, depending on the D-man. Drew Doughty didn't hit his form till year number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how long it takes. And now we look at the Oilers cap situation here. Connor McDavid, obviously, 12.5. Leon Draisaitl, 8.5. Milan Lucic's at 6. Nugent Hopkins at 6. Then you have a bit of a drop-off of Strome at 3.1. Tobias Reeder at 2. But again, that top, the Milan Lucic contract is awful.
It's a boat anchor.
Awful. What are you doing paying Milan Lucic, who had 2 good years at most before that and was really good in the playoffs? I give him that. $6 million a season. Why?
And committing for that long.
And that's a long deal. That's a very long and ugly deal.
to me, I would have been, you know what, if you want to do a 2 or 3 year deal with Milan Lucic, all right, fine. But signing this guy or locking him up until 2023, 2024, what are you doing?
And sorry, Avery,
Yeah.
I forgot that Tony. Andrew Doughty is going. Believe it or not, will either turn out to be Evan Bouchard or Darnell Nurse. And you just mentioned Darnell Nurse there. Darnell Nurse. How do you think Darnell Nurse feels?
Oh.
Taking a bridge deal and seeing. Wait a minute. Seeing Milan Lucic making 6. Chris Russell making, what's he making, 4.5? Andre Sekera making whatever Andre Sekera makes, and he's on long-term injured reserve.
Exactly.
That's a contract that can go to waste here in any moment. To me, Darnell Nurse is an Evan Bouchard and obviously Ethan Bear. Their defense for the next few years, Avery, looks very good. Caleb Jones, Ethan Bear, Evan Bouchard, who they drafted this year, looks very good. Darnell Nurse. That is their future. But they got to get rid of some of these bad contracts. And they got to start signing smart deals. Chris Russell, first off, 4.5. And a full no movement clause is horrendous. And Milan Lucic's got full no movement.
How do you in a boardroom agree as a team to sign Chris Russell to that and give him a no movement clause? When at best, Chris Russell to me has always been a third pairing guy, maybe a second pairing guy, and never a first pairing guy.
On the LA Kings, put it this way, we're talking about the LA Kings. On the LA Kings, he's a 6th defenseman.
Yeah.
On the LA Kings, he's a 6th defenseman. And yet in Edmonton, he's a number 4. Sometimes number 3. Depending on what the hell is happening. The Edmonton Oilers should be a lot like the Blackhawks, a lot like the Kings. 3 titles in 7, 8 years, whatever it was. Now you see the Blackhawks going through that transition period.
Mm-hmm.
Going through that period where they will struggle now for a few years. You're going to see the Kings drop off and struggle for a few years. But guess what? Luke Robitaille and the Kings and Stan Bowman and the Blackhawks are prepared for that because guess what? They've won. That window is closed. The Oilers haven't won in, it's going on 12 years, Avery.
Yeah, and this is a team, it's just, to me, I've said it again, it is embarrassing. And the fact that you look at last year, a team like the Vegas Golden Knights was able to figure it out and make the postseason in year 1. Well, the Edmonton Oilers, who've had chance after chance after chance after chance, still cannot figure it out.
God blessed us with McJesus. He gave the Edmonton Oilers a gift. A gift. Said this is going to end all your problems. Number 97, Connor McDavid. And we still find a way to screw that up.
Because once again, you're believing in a literal child to rescue your in business. If I'm a sports reporter, but there was no way at 18 years old, NBC was going to turn to me and say, Avery, come run our entire sports department.
And we're going to give you $12 million.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been a horrible business decision, and whoever hired me would have been fired on the spot. But in hockey,
because what are you doing? Yeah,
exactly. But in hockey, it somehow can happen where a team will just trust an 18-year-old with nothing around him to succeed.
Let me look at this for you. Look at the Buffalo Sabres, who now starting to come up. The Carolina Hurricanes starting to come up. Last point on the NHL, and we'll move on. I understand this is long and drawn out. Pittsburgh Penguins, Crosby, Malkin. They found guys like Gensel. They found guys like Connor Sherry. They found guys like Dia, who's now in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
and they won. They found character guys to build around their superstars and won. My problem, there's way too many Chiefs in the Oilers lineup and not enough room. If you're expecting Ty Ratty to be your full-time winger next to McDavid, sure. Hey, that's your Jake Gensel. I understand it. I get it. But come on, man. Something's got to give. I know it's 3 games in. We're not hitting the button yet. Go Oilers, go. We believe. I love the Edmonton Oilers, man. For those of you that know me, I love this team. This is my team. But I'm frustrated, just like a lot of you. And it's time to win.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I just bought season tickets for the first time this year. If they don't win, I've already talked to my uncle. If they don't win and put up a terrible year, I might not even renew.
After your first year.
I want to see playoffs. I'm not going to spend the next 30 years of my life and throw my money away if you're not making the playoffs.
Yeah, I hear you. I definitely do hear you. And moving on from that, we can move from the NHL to the NFL. And right now, actually, I'm a bit frustrated myself because right now I'm seeing the Green Bay Packers. My team are down 30-23 to the 1-win San Francisco 49ers at home. Well, Green Bay's in the red zone right now. To me, Brad, Green Bay should not even be down to San Fran and CJ Beathead.
I'll tell you why. It comes down to Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers' health. The secondary's been horrendous this year. That is what it is. I think Mike McCarthy, his time is done in Green Bay, I believe. I think it's almost we're starting to see Avry, a changing of the guard. You see teams like Kansas City start winning. You see teams like the Rams start to win. And yet the Broncos, the Packers, all these teams that used to win are now back down to earth. And I think we talked about that window. We just talked about the Oilers. The window of championships, I think, is closing for Green Bay, and I think it could be done.
Yeah, and you know what? At least they had won a title when they beat Pittsburgh in Super Bowl 45.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers should have won at least 3 titles as a Packer. He should have
won.
Well,
and we talked about this off air at dinner. Aaron Rodgers could be very well playing with a torn MCL or a torn ACL.
We don't know.
Which is terrible.
And this is a team where, and unfortunately, we mentioned Aaron could be hurt. But what do? Bench him. You can't really give him rest, which is unfortunate because Deshaun Kaiser, when they put him in, was terrible against Chicago. He was awful.
Well, there's no contingency plan. Look at the Patriots. No contingency plan behind Tom Brady.
It's Brian Hoyer.
If Tom Brady's not playing till he's 50 years old, that window is going to close in New England, and it's going to close rapidly once Tom Brady retires.
No, it's gonna be,
I don't think they'll win for years.
No,
after Brady leaves.
No, once Brady's done, it's going to be a painful lesson for the Patriots in never having the future and never preparing for the future. At least with Green Bay,
they had Jimmy G, and that backfired.
At least, I heard the power struggle was that it was either. Well, I heard there was a big power struggle with that, and that Belichick wanted to move on from Brady,
right.
But Robert Kraft wouldn't let it happen. So that's why they dealt Garoppolo to San Fran to keep Brady. And end of the day, you know what? Tom Brady's invincible. Guys who play NFL, I can count to you on one hand the quarterbacks I recall watching growing up who played into their 40s. That was Warren Moon. It was Steve DeBerg. It was Vinny Testaverde.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's now Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
And all those guys, when they got to maybe like 41 or 40, I know Warren Moon was a Pro Bowler 41, first one at 40 to be a Pro Bowler. Mm-hmm. But eventually, Warren regressed and he ended his career as a backup in KC. And Testaverde, Carolina 44, but he wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And all these guys eventually regressed to the point at which they were no longer starters.
Right.
They're backups. Tom Brady once played he's 45 years old. Only, I think I mentioned before on the podcast, only George Blanda and Steve DeBerg ever played quarterback at 45. And the NFL almost 100 years old. 2 guys in 99 years.
Yeah.
For Brady to do that, the odds aren't good for Brady to try and pull that off.
Chris Chelios also in another league as well.
You
Yeah.
know, but hockey's a bit more hockey physicality is different than football physicality. You can play in hockey until you've had multiple guys in hockey play into their mid-40s. The physicality is different than football. You're not being hit every single play in hockey like you're in football.
This is true. Yeah.
Yes, but yeah,
Sure.
like, and it's I don't like realistically. I think Brady calls it a career at 43 in 2 more years.
You think that long?
I think 2 more years, and that's it for Brady.
2 more years of TB12, eh? I don't think so. I see him the end of this year, maybe next year. If they don't win a Super Bowl, I think Tom Brady's done. He's done it all. He's done what he needs to do. He's got nothing left to prove. He could be very arguably one of the best quarterbacks in this day and age. A lot could argue that, like a lot of people can argue that. Um, to me, I despise him as a football player. Being a Broncos fan, it's hard to watch. But as a human being and as a sports fan, that's the greatest quarterback of all time.
No, Brady is easily in the debate of top 5 quarterbacks that NFL has ever seen. But you know what? Even Brady's career, let's say Brady won, let's say New England, whatever, drafts a quarterback and says in a year or two, we're going to move on from Tom. And it may not happen, but I think if maybe Philip Rivers is a quarterback who's getting older, if maybe Philip Rivers calls it a career, or even in Pittsburgh with Ben Roethlisberger, who he's always teasing retirement, if you have a quarterback gap in, say, at Pittsburgh or the Chargers, if one of those 2 guys goes, you could see maybe in 2 years Tom Brady, the Pittsburgh Steeler, or Tom Brady, the LA Charger.
Wow. Could you imagine? Tom Brady and LA Charger?
I think it'd be more jarring to see him in Pittsburgh.
Well, I think Pittsburgh fans would cringe a lot. I think a lot would. A lot of fans would have their say with that for sure.
And of course, in the rest of the NFL, you saw, you know what? I gotta give a kudos to the New York Jets going in and beating up on the Indianapolis Colts. Sam Darnold balled out in that game on Sunday.
Yeah, he did, and he looks good. The future's bright in New York. Sam Darnold, has come advertised. He had a few shaky weeks to be expected from a rookie quarterback, but he's looked very good from the onset. He's put those games behind him, and he's really taken control of his Jets team. And finally, it looks like in New York they've had a stable quarterback of the future.
Mm-hmm. And like the Giants, where you know what? I don't know what's happening with the New York Giants. That team is such a gong show right now, going from one New York team to the other, well, one New Jersey team to the other, as the Eagles hammer the Giants and mention retiring quarterbacks. I think Eli Manning is our number in New York.
That's another team that's going to see a major struggle. They had their chance to draft a quarterback. They took Barkley instead.
Who's balling out though at running back? He's having a great year.
Hey, I don't dismiss that. I don't argue that. That was a great pick. But at some point, you need to look at your quarterback situation, and it looks as though the Giants could struggle for many years, and that could be the end. I believe if that is the case, could be the end of OBJ in New York.
Yeah, because you're seeing his struggles. I mean, this is the guy who went to an interview and basically said Eli is not throwing the ball enough.
Yeah.
If you get your top receiver calling your quarterback in an interview, that's a horrible sign. And eventually, you're gonna have a power struggle. We saw years ago with the Eagles with T.O. McNabb having their struggles and their eventual breakup. I think
you look at Antonio Brown, Ben Run, same thing there, and Le'Veon Bell too, right? So there's a big change there as well. There's a change in the entire league, really.
Yeah,
you're seeing these powerhouse teams who've been powerhouses for decades starting to take their downturn and their time to rebuild. So.
No, exactly. Of course, fortunately, your Denver Broncos fell to the LA Rams.
That's 3 in a row.
It's tough time to be a Broncos fan, isn't it, Mr. Bartko?
It's painful, and I'll put it to you this way: I think Vance Joseph is done. I think his time as a coach is done. He's already came out and stated as of last week, or I think it was yesterday, that he's playing for his life. He's coaching as if his job was on the line.
Jeez.
Case Keenum hasn't really come as advertised. I think they're going to give him a few more weeks. They spent the money on him. They need to, let him kind of throw the ball. It's got ugly in the first 6 weeks. He's thrown an interception in every one of his games. I was watching NFL Fantasy Live today, and they're talking about Chad Kelly potentially coming in, a 7th-round pick of last year. I think he's still pretty green. I don't think he's ready. Another year or two possibly. But this is Case Keenum's team. If they're going to struggle, let them struggle, and they'll get another top 5 pick next year.
Yeah.
But their defense is not looking like their defense of old. This is back-to-back games for the first time in almost 5 years. They've given up 200-plus yards of offense, and it's not looking good. So.
No, it is not. I do want to mention one of our last NFL points. Dallas beats up on Jacksonville 47, and at that game was Conor McGregor, giving a little pep talk to the Cowboys and stuff. But Brad, did you watch how Conor threw a football?
Yeah.
How did no one, before he did that, gave Conor a pointer? Like, Conor, we want you to throw a football for the cameras, but first of all, we know you're from Ireland. Football not that big there.
Football's playing with your foot there.
You throw a football. And then, why did no one show up to throw a football beforehand? Why? Like, take 2 seconds. Conor, hold laces, go crazy. This is a grip.
I don't know. What do you tell a man that's worth millions of dollars? I don't think you can tell him anyway. It happened. I mean, it is what it is.
He got memed from here to hell.
he's still a better quarterback than what they have right now.
No, Jacksonville. Oh gosh.
So hey, maybe there's a future there, wide receiver.
Well, better than quarterback. I do want to go, Brad. I know we also have playoff baseball happening right now. Boston tied the series up with Houston. And the LA Dodgers are playing Milwaukee. And because I'm a guy who likes my ratings, and I'm a guy who likes the Star Power series, I want to see an LA Boston World Series.
See, I'm the other way. I'm a Houston Milwaukee all the way. I think Houston's got the ability to get it done. I like their bullpen a little bit better. I like they got a little more pop in those bats. Yes, Boston had a really big year regular season wise. I just don't think they can get it done. I see it being a long series. I just don't see Boston pulling through. I think Houston goes to World Series. And I'm rooting for Milwaukee just on the sheer need of the underdog. And, LA's been there. Clayton Kershaw, he got roughed up in last
underdog.
game.
He wasn't won last year. What underdog?
No, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
I'm talking about
yeah,
Milwaukee.
Okay, Milwaukee.
I'm talking Milwaukee. You look at the firepower there. Moustakis, Kane, a couple of former Royals there. And their pitching staff has been lights out. Their bullpens are, and I think they outlast the Dodgers here. And I see a Brewers Astros World Series with Astros repeating.
We'll see, because the LA Bat, that's a team where you saw Justin Turner coming out with that bat. Like, that's a team where they can hurt you. You've seen it before with Puig, right. Turner, Jock Peterson, even a guy like Kike Hernandez. That was that team where those bats can go off on any day of the week.
Yes.
And Boston, though, like, as long as David Price doesn't start a ball game, Boston's got a shot.
Yeah.
David Price
still didn't win a game. Last night.
Yeah, got no decision in the game against Houston.
Guess what? Hold on, wait a minute. That's a $210 million man. Can't win a playoff game. Goes to show, kids, you don't need to win a playoff game to make money.
In baseball, absolutely not. Look at Giancarlo Stanton. The dude was in Miami making almost $1 billion, and the team around him was garbage.
Scroll down. You got comments.
Team absolutely garbage in Miami. Yeah, I see a chat's hopping right now. I see your lovely wife is in the chat room right now, Brad, so behave. Brad, are you tired? You keep yawning. That's from your wife, Jen.
I keep talking. She keeps bugging me. The time change, I think, has gotten to me a little bit, and trying to catch up on some Z's. I know the cat, my animal kept me up last night, so hopefully we get a better sleep tonight. I didn't sleep very well.
Oh, my God. I do want to ask you, Brad. I know before we wrap things up, I do want to ask you, Brad, about, I know, in November, there was an event in Saudi Arabia, WWE Crown Jewel in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. they had an event earlier this year, Greatest Royal Rumble, and this is an event where it's a lot of money going to the WWE. It's millions,
Yeah.
multi-millions. There's enough money that they convinced Shawn Michaels, who for 8 years has said, "I will not come back." No, 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 no.
Yeah.
They threw it's rumored to be 10 million at the man. Okay, I'll come back for basically a one-off match
Money
with
talks,
DX
boys and
against
girls.
Kane Undertaker. And now, I guess two things I want to ask you about. What are your thoughts on one, the Michaels comeback more in depth, and two, the fact that of course we don't get too political, but the fact that I guess the government has said there'll be a report coming out about that journalist who was apparently murdered in the consulate, and the fact that WWE is really getting involved with the government, which has such a bad track record, it still it's not settled with me that they're in bed with the Saudi Arabians in this, and it just doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah, it's a little uneasy. I mean,
No.
but again, it's money, right? That's all it comes down to. It's a money talks. Saudi Arabia wants it there. They're throwing a bunch of money at the WWE. I mean, if somebody threw you $100 million to throw an event, in Saudi Arabia, would you say yes or no? I mean, I would jump out and say yes. I mean, write me the check. I'll be there tomorrow, right? I mean, money talks, and that's all it is. And same with Shawn Michaels. I mean, I'm a big Attitude Era wrestling fan. I was big in the '90s, early 2000s, and I'm still somewhat big now, although the ratings have dropped, and I'm not really as interested as I was years ago. But to see guys like Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, Kane, Triple H back in the ring together just excites me, even if it's for one or two matches. To see those old school idols get back in the ring and do it again, Trish Stratus again back, and all these guys, The Rock rumored to come back in the next couple of weeks. It excites me. So it's good to see again with their money talks. $10 million for one or two matches. Hey, I'll do it.
I'll say this with Shawn Michaels. I'll say this though. He didn't retire in 2010 and come back a year later. He came out. He stayed away for 8 years. I'll give him that. In wrestling terms, an 8-year retirement between matches, that's a long time.
It's a long time.
And I'm still blown away. The man shaved his head fully. I know he
wanted to look like Triple H.
I know he first cut the ponytail, just had the low cut. Mm-hmm. But the fact he went all the way now and is totally bald, I cannot get used to still. That is.
Hey, yeah. I mean, maybe he's balding already, and he's like, just cut my hair. Oh, my wife made a comment this morning or this afternoon. I was thinning, so maybe I'll just shave my head and go bald too. I don't know.
You can match Triple H and Michaels.
I'll come out and to Shawn Michaels' theme song. That'd be kind of cool.
No.
Hey, as we wrap up here, I want to thank again Howie's Dinner Club. We're gonna do a trivia question as well. I'll leave that up to Avery. Thank you to Howie's Dinner Club for hosting us as always, week in and week out. Mash Pub and Eatery, Atlas Steakhouse, the Starlight Casino, Grand Villa Casino, our boys Shaq, Raymar, and Dave. Thank you guys so much. We love you. Again, to our sponsors, thank you guys so much for all you do and keeping us here and letting us do what we do week in and week out. I'm good to be back. I feel home. I feel whole again. And we'll do this again next week. I'm excited.
Yeah, as you should be. And, of course, I do want to mention trivia. Got to give a shout-out to Kyle Polanski, who won trivia question last week. The question was, what university did Drew Brees play college football at? Kyle, it was Purdue. You got that. So you get a dinner for two on a Thursday night here at Holly's. Congratulations, buddy.
And contact us as well. We'll point you in the right direction for that and then set you up. We also, Barry Peterson won the first week. Dinner for two, so we got to hook him up as well.
Of course, and this week, you know what? And for this week's question, since we were mentioning Shawn Michaels and Triple H, you know what we're going to do for a question? Shawn Michaels and Triple H engaged in the first ever Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, the first ever Hell in a Cell match. So, we're going to ask you a question. What year did the first Hell in a Cell match happen? What year did the first ever Hell in a Cell match take place in WWE?
There's your trivia question, nice and easy for you. You can Google that. Do whatever you gotta do. Ask your husband, whatever.
Ask your wife.
Ask your wife. Hey, your wife could be. My wife is a massive wrestling fan. She's in love with wrestling. She watches it religiously. She loves it. She just can't turn it off the TV. So maybe I'll go home. I'll I go home and ask my wife what year the first Hell in a Cell was in. I'm sure she watched it on WWE Network only for $9.99. Nice little plug there as well.
What, Vince paying you now?
Again, thank you guys so much for all you do and helping us out week after week. Howie's, Matt, Shaq, Raymond, all those guys. Thank you guys so much. Quick update as well. November 2nd, because I want to reach everybody as possible. November 2nd, I'm doing a charity silent auction at Hudson's on Bourbon Street in West Edmonton Mall. We're raising money for underprivileged and foster youth for Echoes of Hope, LA-based charity. I was named my wife and I were named the Canadian ambassadors about a year ago. We raised $5,000. This year we're looking to raise $10,000 to pay for education, books, backpacks, and just to help make a difference in kids' lives and normally they don't get an opportunity to go get a post-secondary education to help them out. So if you'd like to donate or attend the event, please reach out to us. Avery's got all the details as well. Reach out to us.
Mhm.
We will point you in the right direction again. Thank you guys so much. And hopefully we'll see you November 2nd. We will see you next week right here, same place, all the time with my beautiful face and his fedora. Maybe next week we'll take the fedora off. Who knows? And maybe we'll have an I Quit match and shave his head. I don't know.
We'll see about that.
Thank you guys so much. We love you. Thank you. For Avery Lewis McDougall, I'm Brad Barco. Good night. Episode 25 next week live from Howie's Dinner Theater in West Edmonton Mall.
Later.